Okay, good morning. It is day 44 of these videos to describe a day or thought in the life of me as a human with schizophrenia. I make these videos to kind of express some sane thoughts that I have on a daily basis because the world has gone crazy and turned it around on me and said I'm crazy. I do a little intro, so it's about 2.5 minutes, so you can skip ahead if you want. And in the intro, I say that I writing a book on medium.com. It's posted on my Facebook page on the comment section on the pinned tweet or pinned post. And it's called, the book is called Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition. And it's also posted on my Threads account uh, to the profile. If I was going to describe myself as a person, I'd describe myself as an itty bitty writer who experiences schizophrenia. It is a reality to be experienced. Much of the experience can be attributed to coming into contact with systems and operations that use highly advanced or modern technology. I am just a one-time semi-activist. I am now a brain-damaged author writing a book on technology and society, psychological operations, and political surveillance. Additional thoughts on that, or additional content in that book, is that I share some of my thought processes which potentially got me targeted. This targeting is called the Targeted Individual Program by other sectors of society. And in day 17 of these little videos, I described why I choose to describe myself as a schizophrenic rather than a targeted individual, though sometimes I do use that language. But one of the reasons why is because I feel like the targeting individual program is an entire cognitive war operation, and that is one reason why I choose to stick with schizophrenia, because I feel like schizophrenia should be examined in any event as this behavior has come to the forefront, and because it has just resulted in my brain functioning in a schizophrenic manner. I'm actually the recipient of political warfare, what NATO calls cognitive war, and what the Chief of Indian Intelligence calls neurostrike weaponry. And this has given me the condition characteristic of schizophrenia, but is actually me coming into contact with the classified or underworld section of reality, which could be global governance or democracy or some supranational entity like a fascist thing or something. Yeah, so or maybe it could, like I sometimes theorize that it could be right wing tied into communism, but I don't. I know that sounds a little crazy, but that's what I think. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and go into what I was going to talk about today. And speaking of right wing talk tied into communism or whatever, there was a little bit of a thing that went on for a few decades in this country, and I think it goes on a little bit now, but to me, there was maybe part of a cognitive war. I'm not sure. But there was the idea of a new world order, and Bush gave that speech in 91, and he said new world order, and it was this big fear that everyone feared, like the new world order, the new world order. Everything is about the new world order, and it seems like it was done as a way to make people say, like, hey, we don't want a new order, we like the old order. And the idea of a new world order is scary to a lot of people because they don't like to see things change. And you think, like, well, what is this new world order going to be? Is it going to be democratic? Is it going to be dictatorial? And that new world order fear was used to push people towards this world order where we have Elon Musk acting like a dictator on the world stage and undermining basically traditional American government operations around the world and even in the United States, so soft power. And I was watching a thing yesterday, and Democratic politicians were out, you know, fighting the fight or whatever against U.S. aid being shut down and USAID or USAID being shut down. And well, when you look at that, what was I gonna say? Okay, yeah. Um, I can't remember what I was gonna say. I might be getting hit with a memory thing jolt right now. But USAID was being shut down, and I lost my track of thought. But New World Order. Now we have Elon Musk undermining democratic democracy around the world, and so yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop here. I'm sorry, I'm having a total brain freeze at this point in time. Maybe this is the brain damage, or maybe this is the maybe I'm being hit with some sort of weapon or microwave weapon or whatever moments I'm going to talk about in a minute. Actually, I guess I can go into that right now. Diplomats, and I was reading in my book about War at the Speed of Light about microwave weapons and the Trump administration in 2016 or so, and they discussed potentially microwave weapons being used to try to disrupt the brain functioning of diplomats in Cuba, and people at the University of Miami, and uh, in China as well. And one of the theories posited out of that was that uh, a rogue Cuban element, because the Cuban government actually kind of said this too, was that rogue Cuban element in the Cuban government wanted to disrupt relations between America and Cuba because Barack Obama had tried to normalize some relations between the government of Cuba and the United States and tried to create an open environment, that interaction between them. And so that was one of the theories that was posited out, and that's a very interesting theory because uh you know what would someone from the Cuban government have to gain by disrupting relations between America and Cuba if they're starting to create open relations? And so, I mean, that's plausible in my mind that something like that could happen, given what I know, and I don't know a whole lot, but I know some, and my brain thinks in suspicious ways. Uh, so, yeah, so that was what I wanted to talk about, but I don't know what happened right now with my brain. I just totally had a brain freeze, and I can't even remember what I was gonna go back and say. All right, I'm gonna move on to uh the protests in California over ICE raids, and they shut down the freeway, and I thought that was a good thing. And I know like people complain a lot of times when people shut down the freeway or whatever, like like oh, but you can't just abduct people out of their homes and not expect some sort of civil disobedience. And uh, you know, and getting to this abduction out of homes or ICE or workplaces, raids or whatever, wherever they're doing it, it's like, why do Americans think that they can act like a-holes and then people are going to go around waving the American flag like, we love you, America. Thank you for acting like such a jerk and a-hole and being abusive towards me the whole time I was here. I'm so happy to be here with you now. I love you so much. And that's not how you get love as a person. You don't go around abusing other people and expecting love in return. Like only a psychopath would abuse other people, belittle them, demean them, uh, call them every name in the book, use go on Nazi type campaigns. There's literally a guy doing a Sig Heil from the podium of the United States. Go on Nazi campaigns for president, and then think like, oh, they don't love America. Who's gonna love you when you're doing that? Because uh, anyways, so I just it's a bizarre way to get, and it makes you wonder if that is the aim of these anti-immigrant right wingers. Like, are they just Nazis? Do they not care about people having a love for America? Do they not like the American government because it bombed Germany in 1940 or something? I don't, is this like payback or whatever? And so, what I was going to get into a little bit is that, like, I think I remember now what I was going to say from before, but uh, they were saying, the USAID workers were saying that we were undermining our efforts with China and communist regimes or countries around the world where USAID is seen as soft power. And what I was going to say about that is that if you look at the anti-immigration fervor, it's going to undermine relations with America and the southern hemisphere of the United States and Latin America. And right now we have a situation where we're kind of joining with Latin America as more Latin Americans come into the United States. And these Latin Americans, if you treat them right, if you treat them with respect, you could create a situation where you have a lot of Latin Americans in America that value America as their country. And they would say, like, uh, you know, they could start to have loyalty to the United States of America as, like, like something they revere and say like it's a good force. If we treated each other with respect and dignity, that's something that you could have. But that all gets undermined to the point where, like, you just have these kind of racist right wingers that just want to belittle the people that come over the border, and they don't want to give them citizenship, and they want to exploit them. And I in chapter 8 of my book, I describe my thoughts on immigration, and they're a little bit complex, but they mostly have to do with the fact that I think there should be political integration in the world, and there should be citizenship rights given to immigrants. And essentially, what I'm saying is, like, you undermining that relationship between Latin America and the United States, and maybe it's done to undermine the power of America in the world because these corporations like Elon Musk type people who have hundreds of billions of dollars, they don't want a powerful American government. They don't want a powerful American country. They want America to be weak so that the global billionaire class, global corporation class can actually be the world order, so like all this what gets it back into the New World Order. It's like we were so afraid of the New World Order that we gave the order over to this battery plant making uh richest man in the world, Nazi saluting guy who is gonna usher in some sort of new his world order, and he's doing brain implants. So that's what I was gonna get into, but I didn't have time because I kind of went on and I forgot so much what I was going to say. But yeah, he's into brain implants and he's into brain control, and so uh, yeah. So I I'm reading that in my We Are Electric book, which I kind of already knew, but like Anyways, I gotta stop here because it's been 15 minutes. So, okay.